If something is not working in your business, you are the problem. And if you're not willing to fix the problem, you're always going to have the issue.
You either learn from your mistakes or you drown.
What people don't realize is before you hit that next level, there is always chaos that makes you readjust to be able to slip into that next level.
What is your why? Because if your why is not strong enough, when things get dark, when things are up against you, that won't be enough to carry you through. You're just going to fall off like the rest of everyone else.
What will you do when you are faced with 70K leaving your account if you are crying over the fact that you couldn't get a yes after 40 calls? We're just back here. So we're going to like warm up again. I feel like every time we take a break, it's almost like stage fright again. And I'm looking to you for support. You're looking to me for support. But we're just going to dive right in. So obviously on TikTok, I have been making some content that has been a little bit controversial.
A bit spicy.
So I tried to take it off our actual business platform because I know that we are two different people. And I might say things that just come to mind and people might not agree with. And one of those things is we've been talking about open rent and how open rent is making people feel like the rent-to-rent space is completely dead and that you can't really get rent-to-rents anymore. You can't get service accommodations deals through open rent because like no landlords are responding. So I guess what we're asking today is that actually a space where you can use to get deals, and is it still like a valid platform? Is it still a platform that people should be talking about and engaging with, or is it a waste of time leading to the Airbnb space being dead on that platform?
I think it's definitely a space that people should still be using. I think the problem is a lot of people are afraid of using the other routes of acquiring properties. So for example, going through agents or, like cold calling and things like that. People are scared to be doing that. They think that it's easier to just message a landlord. Hopefully they say, oh yeah, come for a viewing, and then you can kind of pitch from there. So now that, of course, like everything else, open rent has kind of gotten wise to basically how people are using its platform. They've obviously stepped up their game to make sure that they're filtering out the people that are looking for properties for service accommodation and actually allowing people who actually want to rent on a long-term AST, allowing them to be able to be seen as well.
And rightly so, because I think that's what the platform's for. But what's interesting is I did a ChatGPT search, obviously.
As you do.
And I thought, because I'm like, am I going crazy or is the platform not being used the same way that it was before? But ChatGPT ultimately told me I'm crazy and that although they, have this issue with people who are wanting to rent rent properties like ourselves, our companies, and not actually using the platform as it's to be used, they've not changed anything within their algorithm that would pick up you being a company, essentially. So I don't know if it's just me sensing it, just us having these conversations, but there's definitely been a change. And I know that because when we were having conversations with our mentees, one of them picked out last year summer that the responses that they were getting before were way better, way frequent, way more open than when they had raised it towards the end of summer. But also, at that point, people move in summer. The weather's better. People feel like, they're more excited. They feel better about getting up and going and change of scenery. Whereas in the winter, that doesn't happen much. So we kind of put it down to the time of year.
Yeah.
But as it's prolonged, I actually think it's interesting because we've got a new mentee who started with us and she's been checking for deals through open rent and been successful with landing viewing.
Yeah.
But equally, I will even I am the queen of open rent. I know how to open rent. And even that has been tricky for me.
Yeah.
So we've had to kind of think about ways where we can secure deals. And we're so blessed because obviously we've built a channel of landlords where that is a lot easier. But essentially, open rent isn't doing the same thing it used to.
But you mentioned something before that it might even be down to them clocking the IP address and knowing that.
I'm convinced they're after us.
Yeah, they're not.
No,
they're not after us.
I'm convinced.
They're not after us.
Open rent are after us. I've tried different emails, but that's what IP address is.
That's the whole thing, so that they understand, regardless of what you do, regardless of which login you use, we know where you're doing this from, and we got your location. That's what they said. We got your location. So, again, obviously, if it's down to them clocking IP addresses and that, it's then going to be difficult because they'll also, it also kind of falls into, you know, even if you decided to go and use it on your phone or your laptop or whatever device that's connected to your internet and is obviously tracing to the internet through your IP address, it will know that you've just moved devices.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then obviously, if you go and take your laptop and then go to Starbucks down the road, it still knows your MAC address and things like that.
Oh,
so you see
how IP address works?
No, you got IP address and you got MAC address and you got other things as well, so that they can trace what devices are connected to what systems in order to get to the internet and stuff like that. So
no, they're definitely doing that behind the scenes because I need to understand. But also,
it's all part of algorithm,
I will
innit?
say that this happening is identifying the weak operators in the Airbnb space.
This is it. That's where I really want to get to, because you might have to hold me back on this one because I've got my opinions on how, and I don't want to call them. No. But I don't want to. Do you know what? Do you know what it is? What it is?
What it is?
That's the thing that apparently I say that all the time when me and Cindy are in debate.
What it is?
Because I'm just about to just lay out some game right now, but I just get very annoyed when I'm around people that are just complaining and, you know, complaining without doing the work. And when you hear it, obviously...
You've got a hair that's frustrating.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, looking out for me.
Yeah.
When you hear it, first of all, it's like, all right, cool. Valid, you're complaining. Let's have a look at what you're complaining about, if it's valid or whatever. Cool. But then when you hear it over and over again and it's also accompanied without any solutions, or you're not coming from a solution-based perspective, it starts to drain on you. Do you know what I mean? And then I start to and then because I want to protect myself and my well-being about taking that type of energy on, I then start to become a bit short with people that are complaining and stuff like that. And I feel like they feel that. Do you know what I mean? So it's just one of them ones where I just feel nowadays you've got people that are complaining that, I've been, you know, I've called 10 agents and I haven't got a yes. I'm like, bro, 10?
If you only you knew how many we
that should be the first half of your day.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about you wanna quit now.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's like
I think the and I know we're talking more about open rent, but it leads into like the rent to rent space has just gotten so weak. Like everyone's moaning, everyone's crying about things. I guarantee you right now, if I spilled the issues that Sean and I have been having within the business, you guys would have closed up shop. The people that are complaining, you guys would have closed up shop. It's not easy. It's not easy. And every time you hit a new stage, it's almost like the stage that you hit wants to slap you back to the original stage that you were at before. And you've got to fight through that. And a lot of people aren't ready for that grit and that grind when it comes to the Airbnb space. And also, I feel like it's one of the only spaces where people don't actually treat it like a business. I say this so much. The expectation drives me mad of like, I'm going to be making money in the first year. It's a business. You know, like when people talk about their businesses, they lose like 30K, 50K. Like they're willing to lose money before they gain the amount of money that is worth the business.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Worth the hard work, worth the push that they're
it's
putting
the
in.
long game, innit?
But people don't do that. And I feel like the open rent space and people not being able to get to landlords through open rent like they used to before is identifying people with weak mentality. And like, I'm not even thinking about open rent that way. It's being brought to my attention because I'm onto something else. I've not been getting results the way that I used to get results. I'm onto agents and I'm making relationships with agents. It's not I've hit a barrier and now I'm going to stop there because like what else would be the solution? It's like I've hit a barrier. That barrier is not even relevant to me because I'm onto the next thing. And I think that's what people are missing. So yes, open rent has become difficult for people to access landlords. Landlords have become a lot more clever with how they deal with companies coming to them. Also, we're in a like housing crisis in the UK. If you're operating from the UK, you have to be aware of all things to do with housing because you fall into that. We fall into, being really honest, the issue around housing because people aren't doing it right. We're also like, you have people who are negotiating through open rent at ridiculous rates just to secure a property. You know, a 2-bed is only worth 1.4 and you're offering 1.7 just to be able to get into the property. That is why we can no longer use open rent because we're ruining the original use of open rent. And the way in which it impacts people who should be using the platform. And I think people have to recognize that. So yes, there might be a few changes. Like I said, ChatGPT told me I'm crazy, and there's not anything that would prove changes to the algorithm or changes to how people are using OpenRent. However, I'm seeing the results and something is happening.
But this is also it though. But again, like everything, every stage along this journey, you're going to have things that you get involved in, right, that are going to mature and change as time goes on. Like when you finally get your Airbnb, you know that, you know, people are going to experience the seasons for the first time, winter period, high period, shoulder seasons, you know, that next year, everything's going to be completely different. Yes, you're going to go through the cycle, but it's going to be the same. You're going to have different demands, right? That's the same with OpenRent. OpenRent has matured. It's the demand has changed. The trends have changed. And then people want to come in the DMs online and say that it's difficult to get landlords to say yes, or it's difficult to find properties. If you're gonna, that's literally the first hurdle. If you're gonna quit at the first hurdle, you may as well just down the tools, step aside, and let someone else who would be willing to die for that opportunity take control, because you're not made for it.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
And I think just that's what it is. I think a lot of, you know, I was even about to go into something else. I was just going to say, I'll leave it here. But I just feel like a lot of people aren't willing to be, they're not obsessed about their business.
No.
And they're not willing to lose in order to win, as you said before. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that leads us perfectly on to the dilemma. You happy for me to read it out?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So someone said that they've pitched around 40 landlords and estate agents, and nobody's interested in service accommodation. Everyone is saying no. Is rent to rent still worth pursuing, or should I just give it up? Should I just give up? Sorry.
So this is, sorry, how many did they say?
40.
40.
I don't know what the span. I don't know if that's like.
But then that still doesn't matter, because it's like if you've done that in a day and you're willing to quit after a day, then you need to eat.
Yeah, and you're willing to quit after that. If you've done that in a week and you're willing to quit after that, that's
40 is 40, regardless of what you're talking about. There's people out there that they've had to go through hundreds of calls in order to get one yes.
Can I just say, people feel like the rent to rent space requires more than it actually does. The rent to rent space is just a numbers game. The more you do, the better you get at. The more you target, the more you achieve. The same thing with landlords and agents. Genuinely, hand on heart, the more you do, the better you will get at it. The more you do, the likely you are to get a yes. People get, you know, I always say that the image that gets stuck in my head all the time, and I feel like this will be a story that I tell my future kids and I ask them to pass down to their future kids. That video, or it's like an image of someone digging, and they're digging, and before the last dig, they give up, right? In that last dig was the pot of gold that they'd been waiting for.
Yeah.
You never know when the last try would result to your yes, or your final aha moment, or your final, yes, I've made it. You are giving up way too quickly. And I feel like that's where you have to decipher whether or not this is something you're passionate about, this is something you want to do, or whether you're just coming into the game because you're hearing about it. 40 landlords and agents is not enough for you to, oh gosh, I forgot.
Yeah, that call, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, side note, Sky, Sean's going to tell me off, you're fired. Sky, you're fired. I have BT calling me right now, but Sky, you are fired.
You're not calling him, just answer it. Just let him know to call back at, I don't know, 4:30.
It's like I wouldn't have done the emails and stuff. It's fine. I'll double.
Okay, cool.
It's fine.
Yeah, he'll call back again.
Yeah,
he wants that. He wants that commission.
Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah. So I have to call him back, but that's fine. I can drop an email. But yeah, Sky have been terrible with setting up our Wi-Fi's and everything, but I'll get onto that. When we do updates, maybe I'll get onto that. But yeah, essentially 40 landlords, 40 agents isn't enough. It's not enough for you to get your yes. I remember when Sean and I first started, we were easily doing about 20 each a day. 20 each a day. It took us 3 weeks to 21 days to get our first yes. and then we got 2 yeses. Each of us managed to get something within the same week. If you think about 40 a day for 21 days, you got the quick maths.
Let me. Is that 840?
I would never have a clue.
What's that? 20.
I would never have a clue.
20 times. No, hold on. 40. See, I'll be about
40 times 21.
Hey, you would never know. You'd never know that I had
Maths A.
A in maths.
I know.
You would never know. This is the definition of if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Times 21. Yeah, 840. Mad.
840.
Yeah.
So that's 840
I need to believe in
calls,
myself.
contacts made, engagement with someone, something, whether that be online, whether that's through LinkedIn, whether that was, we didn't use it LinkedIn, but you get what I'm trying to say, like whether that's through agents, whether that's through landlords, whether that's through Gumtree, like you name it, we were there, like Spare Room, like all the websites you could possibly think of, we were actually
Spare Room,
Open Rent,
Zoopla, Facebook, Gumtree,
word to mouth. We posted letters.
Yeah,
like anything that you could possibly think of. Apart from LinkedIn was the only one, but I don't think LinkedIn was as popular to us.
We weren't exposed to LinkedIn.
If we'd known about it, we would have been using it 1,000%. But anything that you could possibly think of, we had done. Google search, councils, getting off council details, requesting HMO contact details from councils, like anything that you could think of, we were doing. Right now, what's happening in this space is people are seeing other people win and thinking that it comes that easy. They're not going to show you the struggle. I bet you didn't know that Sean and I had done 840 calls. People aren't going to necessarily delve into, and not even to be mysterious about it or to not be transparent about it. The fact of the matter is, it's happened so far back that it's no longer relevant to our journey. But these people who are getting the results, they're putting in work behind closed doors. Like, that's not how they started off. So you telling me that you did 40 calls and you're like, should I give up? And we've done 840 to be able to get our first yes.
Constant no's as well. Constant no's.
And the thing is, you've got to track it. And I know 840 sounds wild, and 840 contacts isn't everybody picking up the phone. Sometimes it's us knocking on a door and there's no answer. Sometimes it's an email that we never got a response back to. Sometimes there's a letter sent out that we never had anyone call us back on. It doesn't mean that we're making contact with these people every time and having some sort of conversation. Probably 10% of that was, being able to engage with people over the phone. But the fact of the matter is that we still did it. And I think people are missing that element of push. Like, do you want it bad or do you just want the money? Like, those are two different things. And I think I was getting cussed for that on TikTok. Like, oh, what's the difference between starting a business? Of course you're starting a business for money. No, we don't start businesses for money. We start businesses for wealth. There are two different things. If you're starting business just for money because you want to make change, you want to fly to Dubai. I always mention Dubai because everyone's there, but you could be wanting to fly anywhere that's the next trend. That is not going to be sustainable. It's all about building wealth. We're not silly when we're sat here doing our Airbnb journey. We know that this can't last forever in terms of us staying at this level. We've got to think about developments. We've got to think about other projects we want to get into. We've got to think about other businesses. And I think people are limited when they're coming into the space. I know that this person's asking directly about what they should do and whether it's worth being in the space. I think the answer here is you have to answer that for yourself.
Go back to the drawing boards.
Are you worth being in a space where it's going to require you showing up every day? Are you worth that time? Are you worth that investment? If you don't think that you are, absolutely fine. Like, become an artist and do something else that you're passionate about. Become a PT, do something else that you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be Airbnb, Like, you don't have to do what everybody else is doing.
People don't understand that the aim of Airbnb is to be able to buy back your time.
Yeah.
And give yourself that freedom.
Yeah.
Right? That free, whatever you do with that freedom, that's what I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying, because if you've got that cash flow, that means, again, this is where a lot of people talk about, leave your job and stuff like that. And yes, it's obviously an honor to be able to do that, but not everyone can do that, right? So obviously you've been able to do it, and what that comes with as well. So it's kind of a thing where it's like, when you've got Airbnb and you've got cash flow coming in and you're able to kind of make a decision on whether you're going to continue work or not, right? That is buying back your time and your freedom. What you do with that, whether you choose to reinvest that into the business, whether you choose to scale, whether you choose to go and explore other ventures, that is what you then, that's up to you. Do you know what I mean? But I think a lot of people come in here thinking that okay, I saw someone on social media post up a booking of $2,000. They don't know what was put in to go and get that $2,000. They don't know what was sacrificed. They don't even know what the expenses are. That $2,000 could mean that they've broken even. Do you know what I mean? So you're seeing that thinking, oh, I want to get in because the way they've explained it, it just sounds so easy. That's a bit of me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then they get into it, they hit their first hurdle, and then they crash. Yeah. And then it's like, why? Like, what are you here for?
Yeah.
What are you actually here for? Yeah. You're just here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You definitely decipher who's here because they're passionate about business and who's here because they're passionate about making money. I think the two things are very, very different. Fight me if you think I'm wrong, but I can easily detect that. If you're stumbling at the first hurdle of having to make 40 calls and you're like, wow, I've had to make 40 calls and I've made no progress, and what are you gonna do when you're literally where we are, where 70K leaves your account every month because those are your expenses? What are you going to do when you don't break even with that? Because that happens to us. Yes, we are experts within the Airbnb space, but the reality is this happens. This happens to people where you're not making money, that, the low months really do kill your profits. What will you do when you are faced with 70K leaving your account if you are crying over the fact that you couldn't get a yes after 40 calls?
You're saying that you want to scale, but then you're crying over a little 5K that...
You're not made for it.
You're crying over the 2.5K expenses that you're paying currently. So then you're telling me that you want to scale, you want to get to 10 properties.
But you're
times
crying
that to
over
about 10
that you've got to take from your pocket.
And this is it.
It's all, you've got to rationalize the loss and what the work that you've got to put in, the sacrifice of not being able to go out with your friends. You know how sad sometimes I get that my friends have connected with each other and I'm the last to hear the story. Or I'm sat down, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm paying that price because I choose to pay that price. Although I feel a type of way about it, I can't get upset about it.
Yeah.
I have to make those decisions, those choices in order to get to where I need to be so that I can take those same friends that I love and adore out on all expenses paid trips when we have our kids and we're not able to take time off and see each other. Those things are going to be important.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think we've gotten to a space, and I think why we're feeling so passionate about it right now is the amount of people that have come to us crying over things that I can't. Yes, Sean, things were hard for us before. Things are obviously harder now. Things were hard for us before, but at no point did we ever think, oh, should I give up today?
Yeah. Or even that, like obviously we've had our own mentors that we've had paid for and gone to, but we've never gone to them and said, I feel like giving up, or I'm not too sure what I want to do. No, when you are asking a question from a place of like being solution focused, the way you ask that question is different. You're asking that question to be able to decipher what's the answer and how does that apply to me and how can I put that into action. A lot of people come in expecting, okay, if I ask you this question, if I ask my mentor this question, or if I ask on social media a guru this question, they're going to be able to answer it step by step and give me that that answer, and they're going to solve my problems. And that's an unrealistic expectation that you're setting on yourself. So you're setting that for yourself, and then obviously that means that when you fall short, you're only just going to have yourself to blame, but also thinking that that's going to be the reality that you're going to get from other people. This is just not realistic. And
you just got to be careful of like emotionally reacting to things. I know it sounds harsh, the things that we're saying, but what we're finding, which is what's making me almost detest the space a little bit, is people are emotionally responding to something that is a logical process. Business is not emotional. You are making it emotional. The fact of the matter is the landlord don't want to go with you because you didn't show up enough in a space where you could convince them. The estate agent isn't saying yes because you didn't make it clear enough as to why they should go with you. When you have something in your business that you're not hitting, you have to understand that you are the problem. And that is a hard realization. And Sean learned that very early on in the business. And I used to take it personal. I used to be like, Sean, why are you always blaming us? Like, do you not see how many hours we've done to get X, Y, and Z? I used to be confused that why is this guy always blaming us? No matter how much work we put in, he's using the words like, we didn't do this, we didn't get this done, this. And I'd be like, but we've tried. Now I'm deep in from listening to other podcasts to hearing those that have made millions say it. If something is not working in your business, you are the problem. And if you're not willing to fix the problem, you're always going to have the issue. So I think to this person, and I know that this hits to so many people, if you are not willing to put in the work and every time you get shut down, your response is, I didn't get a call back. I've tried so many times and nothing's happening. I'm like, and not even in a mocking way, because I'm sure at some point in our journey we felt that, maybe didn't express that, but we felt that, but we got on with it. And that will show you, because we got on with it, this is where we're at right now. You have to choose to move forward.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what it comes down to. And even, you know, if we're talking about educationally, what can help? I know that within our school community, what we're really good at is drawing out any issues that people have and providing the solutions through like tutorials that we give. But I'm not going to sit there with you in the school community and cry with you about it. I need the logical steps. I need the systems that's going to help you to improve your pitch, your understanding of landlords, what they want, making sure that you're not being selfish about it and that providing that within the school community. But essentially, you need somewhere where you're going to be taught how to get yeses. If you're not doing it yourself, then why would you be waiting until, you know, next year when you don't get your first property, because the same thing is happening. The same action over and over again results to insanity.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting the results because you're doing it alone, would you want to continue to drive yourself insane? Or do you want to make the effort to make the situation better so that you can get the results that you're looking for, which is getting education? So yeah, I would say go out and get those like masterclasses, go out and invest in yourself, use our school community. That is exactly what it's there for. But don't give up on yourself so soon, because if you don't prove to yourself that you can get this done on this occasion, when will you start proving to yourself? We just continue in this cycle. So it's just something to think about.
100%. And that kind of leads us on to what we're going to talk about next, which is, you know, a lot of people are saying that the Airbnb rent-to-rent space is dead, right? But we kind of need to, I want to talk about where that narrative comes from, because it didn't just click like that, because there's a lot of people in that space already because people didn't think that way.
Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, people are thinking that way. So what is the reason as to why they're feeling like that? And I think it's a lot of course, people cuss people who are selling courses and whatever. But I don't think the issue is the selling the courses. It's the content of the course, the material of the course. And I think when that goes out, a lot of what takes a lot of people a lot of time to make courses is the lived experience and the experience and the knowledge that goes into that, right? If we our course, right, it's not just this is how to do this or this is how to do that. It also comes with, this is the best way for you to do that if you're in this situation, or this is the best way from our experience of how to navigate certain things. That comes from our experience because we've been through it. We've been through the highs, we've been through the lows, and we've been able to kind of extract it. The whole point of it is to be able to put our whole experience that we've learned, our whole knowledge into something valuable, something that you can then copy and then miss out without making the mistakes that we made. You see what I'm saying? And then because you've got people here that have been in the game for about a year and are releasing courses, the value of what they're giving is always going to be shallow.
Yeah, but I also think I was thinking about this the other day because someone commented on something about my view on 18-year-olds coming into the space, basically.
Yeah.
And a lot of them not realizing what is actually going to happen when you start your own business, right? And there's like, I think I've met like two that I've literally been like, no, you're actually really meant to be in this space. Other than that, I'm being like,
you're here for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. And it's not even, I wouldn't even say it's wrong reasons. You've been influenced to believe something and now that's why you want to be here, which I understand. But the year thing, it got me thinking, because someone asked me a question about like, is it actually the amount of time they've been in it? Because as long as you're a step ahead of someone, you always have something to teach, right? But I think it's how you're framing what is going to be taught, because you're trying to frame somebody else's 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of experience into your 1 year based on what you've heard in your surroundings. You're saying don't do one nights, but you don't actually understand why you shouldn't be doing one nights.
Yeah.
You're saying don't have, no security and get a Ring doorbell, but you don't really understand why you should have a Ring doorbell. You're now hearing that people are using minute sensors, so you're saying minute sensors are super important. And I'm not saying that you can't go off and like listen to other people. There's other people, I don't know his name, but there's a guy particularly that I watch on YouTube and I adopt some of his learning. And I believe I'm an expert in the space. I know I'm an expert in the space, but it doesn't mean that I've learned so much that I shouldn't listen to others and other people's ideas. Where it becomes wrong is you trying to teach something that you've not even implemented yourself long enough because you've heard it somewhere else. And that's what's happening with the people who are a year in trying to teach others. And I'm not, listen, get your investors, work with people, build just your social media. No issues with that, but also be transparent, be for real. There's a line that's going around at the moment with how much you can invest with social media to get into social media. It's this kind of stuff that is putting people off.
Into social media?
Sorry, into Airbnb.
Yes.
Airbnbs.
I was confused.
I was
You
on
threw
to
me
the
off
next
there.
point in my head. But that's the problem with social media. It's like it's showing things that people are trialing out there in the real world and realizing it don't work. That's why Airbnb seems dead.
Yeah.
Because what people are putting out on social media, when people are trying it themselves at home, don't try this at home without a mentor who actually can teach you. But when people are trying this at home on their own, they're realizing this actually don't work.
Yeah.
You told me I could start my service accommodation business with £4,000 and I can't.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's why it's dying down, because the information that's being circulated, the information that's being shared isn't clear enough for people to reproduce that information and make it successful for themselves. So I just feel like, we're in a space where it's like, I don't think it's dead. I just think the people that are talking about it are dead.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
And this is it, because again, obviously, we had a discussion before earlier today where we were saying, listen, a lot of people are in an echo chamber where it's almost like just because people are speaking loudly.
Echo chamber. Okay.
But it's true, like just because, you know, your voice might be heard the loudest doesn't mean you're necessarily right, or that everyone else in the room is agreeing with what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of the times people on here, especially in this day and age where, you know, Gen Z are good with the edits and all that.
So old.
You can.
I feel
it's crazy.
so old on TikTok, but yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, you with Gen Z, like, they can do things and portray their message to the point where it's like almost hypnosis for other people that are drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah. And just because they're shouting it the loudest about, you know, this didn't work or that didn't work, Airbnb didn't work or whatever, a lot of people that are hearing that, it's almost like a hypnosis, and it's just warping them to think, do you know what? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And that's when we start to kind of unearth that culture of people try things once and then that's it.
Yeah.
People try things once, didn't really work out the way that they thought it would, and then that's it. They just kind of just leave it there. And that's where, people are just soft nowadays, man.
Yeah.
People are just too soft. But
I think a lot of people also probably think that it's very oversaturated, which I know we've spoken about this before. I do agree. I think it is oversaturated, but it depends how you view oversaturation. I think many businesses are oversaturated. The fast food industry is oversaturated. The beauty industry is oversaturated, but people are still making thousands and millions and billions of pounds from it, because there's billions of pounds to be made. Like someone said something about, I was watching Venture Room. I love, if you're trying to get into like mindset and what is out there and like getting rid of your limiting beliefs on how much money you can make. It's a really good, I don't know what you call it. It's not a podcast. It's a good show. It's a
just a YouTube channel, isn't it?
YouTube channel. That's
I know there's a word. There would be a word to describe them, but
basically they interview random people on the streets who they suspect to have £1 million businesses or more, and they get advice and like understanding as to how they built that business, so that us as the viewers can use that information and, you know, push our businesses further. But the Venture Room kind of shows you all of that information about businesses, and you know, you hear so many businesses being oversaturated. And someone was saying in a space that's oversaturated within the service business, people are still making there's still 56 billion worth of money to be made in the service industry, and that is an oversaturated industry. I don't think there's like somebody's making money. Money's going somewhere. Yeah. Why aren't you the person to capture it? Yeah. So yes, I think it's oversaturated, and it's so crazy, because when we hold our masterclasses, which tend to be at the end of the month, of each month, when we hold these masterclasses, the question that comes up that is the most popular is, do you think it's oversaturated? Is it worth me getting in it? Yeah. And my response is always, do you think you can stand out? Is it worth you getting in it? Yeah. Because if you feel like you bring something else to the table, you always hear business owners say, yeah, that business is available. Loads of people are doing it, but they're not me. And if you can't carry that energy, if you can't embody that vibe, you're going to have an issue. So yes, it is oversaturated. And I think that feeds into the negativity on social media as whether rent to rent is dead. But essentially, I think those who know and feel confident that they can stand out in the business will stand out. Like we've got properties on our portfolio from 3 years ago. Those properties don't stand out. And we've had a conversation this morning about what we need to do to make those stand out or get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because we know what that can cost you if your properties aren't standing out. If you can't stand out in your business, how would you expect anyone to purchase anything from it?
Yeah.
And I think that's what people are missing within the rent-to-rent space personally.
Yeah, and you have to think on a bigger scale as well. Like, you know, look at Apple and Samsung. How many times have they made, you know, digs at each other, or like fast food chains? They will throw digs at each other.
KFC are known for the madness.
Do you know what I mean?
They're the messy ones.
And the whole point of that is to say, listen, you do food, I do food, they do food, but you don't do it like us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it might be friendly and like, you know, just playful banter and whatever.
Yeah.
But or it might be malicious, who knows? But it comes down to the point of when you're coming into this space, are you prepared to kind of
be the case?
And be able to carve out your own lane, and be able to find the niche that you can then you come in and you know, the lane that you're looking for, you can't find it, but because you're just finding your feet.
Yeah.
But as you're finding your feet, you're looking for opportunities. You're doing your background research. You're making sure that you're keeping on top of market trends, demands, analytics. You're constantly monitoring how things are going, right? And then when that opportunity to be able to slide into that niche lane comes out, that's when you then go into it, and then you just you continue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But people aren't willing to get to that point. People aren't willing to get there.
Yeah. And I think it feeds into that beginner mentality where it's like the beginners are misunderstanding what the space is actually about. And I think the big one, obviously, we always speak about this, is rent-to-rent being passive. It can become passive when you build the right systems, but are you even willing to get there?
Yeah.
Like, how many people have we fired in the last 2 months?
Yeah.
Are you willing to? And it's stressful, especially when you don't fully have all the systems. Like, we're learning like new SOPs, we're learning new systems that we have to build in, we're paying for new things. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, if I detailed where we're at right now, you would shut down the business. Like, being honest and being for real, you would shut down the business. There's so much chaos, but what people don't realize is before you hit that next level, there is always chaos that makes you readjust to be able to slip into that next level. And that's what people are missing.
You either learn from your mistakes or you drown. It's as simple as that.
And I'm not
personally prepared to drown.
That's not the way I want to go. You know what I mean? So it's like, you've got to decide. And it's literally that energy. Is that how you want to go?
Yeah.
If you don't want to go like that, you got to make the changes. You got to be better. You got to make things better for yourself. But I think that's what a lot of people are missing. And I think also the Airbnb space has become very selfish. Yeah. We know we get landlords because we cater to landlords' needs.
Yes, of course. And that's why they come and bring us their second property and their third property.
And then
their mates.
Their uncles. And
this is it.
Like, and that's what we want to, that's what we want to see.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see.
This is it.
And I think that's what people are missing, is that they don't realize that rent to rent isn't dead. You've lost your manners.
Yeah.
You've lost
your manners. You go in there talking about what you want to get out of it. You go in there talking about your goals, your aspirations, your dreams, and what you want to do. But at the end of the day, the landlord don't care about that.
No, they don't care.
The landlord only wants to know,
that's it.
Are you going to look after my property?
Hungry.
Yeah. Listen, I was going to say, I got 3 minutes till I break my fast.
You're supposed to break at 6.
I know. I'm doing it at 3 o'clock. The landlords only care about, can you pay the bills on time? Or can you pay my rent on time? Can you look after the property? And can you make sure that there's going to be no hassle?
Issues, like
no issues.
Complaints, no one turning up,
that's it.
No police.
But because people don't go in there thinking, how can I provide value to this landlord or to this person, to this landlady? They just go in there selfish, thinking about what I can get or what they can get out of it.
Yeah.
That's why a big reason why they get in the nose.
Yeah. Can I just give you some gold here as a beginner?
Oh, go ahead.
There are only a few things that matter in this space. Number 1 is understanding the landlord and agent need. Yeah. Number 2 is understanding that the location is going to be everything. It's going to be everything. Number 3 is when you don't know the knowledge and you have gaps in your knowledge, finding someone who has the knowledge to fill those gaps. I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend 5 years learning. I didn't like school. I didn't like uni. Okay? So if you're someone who doesn't mind how long it takes you and you're just in I'm not in any rush to make this business. Do what you've got to do.
Imagine if there was a course for school to do it in 1 year.
What, from primary school to...
Imagine if there was a course back then.
I don't care how much it would have cost, I would have paid it.
Yeah, I would have done whatever I needed to do to go and find that money. Yeah. Let's relax. Let's relax.
Take it back down.
I was talking about paper round. I was talking about all of that stuff. And
not whatever.
Come on.
There are standards.
Come on, don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay.
But I would have made sure that money was available in my pocket.
I would have spent it. And I think that's what people are missing. So I think as long as you know that information, you know how to appease your clientele, the people that you're supposed to be working with, and you understand what they need and you're going to be solution for that. As long as you understand that location is so important. I don't care how nice the property looks. I don't care if it's a new bed. I don't care if it's a 5-bedroom in a rich area and it's just been built. If the numbers, the location don't work, it's not going to make any sense. And then if you don't pair that with the knowledge, so that every time you have a gap, you have somebody who can help you fill that gap with speed, you are going to drown, okay? And I think once you understand that, you'll have a pace that you create that helps you to onboard properties a lot smoother, a lot easier. But the basis is you just got to believe in your source.
I think that's what it is. It's a mindset shift. And
not a mindset shift.
No, it is a mindset shift, because we're not going to sit here and tell you like that we didn't have the same type of mindset that you have right now, where we didn't know that certain things were possible before. The more that we've been going on this journey, it's been teaching us things in life, in business, in partnerships. Just overall, it's been teaching us new things of how to apply ourselves to certain things and how to look at certain things, right? And that's helped us to kind of build up that resilience. A lot of people don't have that mindset where they want to switch it to, actually, you know what, it's do or die, or I'm the one that has to make this happen. A lot of people think that there are people out there are going to make it happen for them. And before, like, you have to be the one, again, as Cindy said, like, identify the gaps in your knowledge. No one else is going to sort out that gap for you. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to be the one to identify it. You have to be the one to go and find out where you can get it from. You have to be the one to go and get it, go and get that access in order to get it. So it has to come from you. And this is where, when I was, I know you were talking about every time when things were going wrong and I said, but yeah, we didn't do this or we didn't do that. 100% I acknowledge what we did do, but there's always that gap. There's always that gap that we need to acknowledge and that we haven't. So now that we know that and we've addressed that, we then go and do what we need to do in order to address that gap in knowledge. And then we don't go through the same problems twice.
No.
We don't go through the same problems twice.
Absolutely. That will cost you your life.
Avoid
that at all costs. And I guess that brings us into like why there are still people scaling in a business that people say is dead.
Because there's a science to it. There's a way to do it. And there's a way to learn.
Business. I feel like, again, I think you guys are treating it like school. You know, like when you don't want to do a maths test and you just complain about doing the maths test, so you just don't study for it. It's not like that. You can't do that in this world. It's like you actually have to put the energy behind what is there already, what you're trying to achieve. And I think that once you do that and you treat it like a business, then you've also got the focus that's needed to create the systems behind the business, which is so important. I literally hear people say, I've got 10 properties and I'm managing it all by myself. And I say, that's great that you scaled to 10. Now let me see your properties. Let me find out the properties aren't making money. One of our mentees was actually saying to us, and I hope she doesn't mind us using this example, she had properties in Birmingham, across Birmingham and Leicester. And when we sat with her to go, I'm like, great, you scaled. Brilliant. Brilliant. Like you're scaling. That's awesome. She's talking about she wants to take on more properties. Easy. We could do that with you. Not a problem. When we broke down what that scaling looked like, we found that one property was creating such a hindrance. She was like, I was making profit before. I don't know where my profit is. And she finally did something as simple as bookkeeping with us. Bookkeeping, which a lot of people are not even, I can't even fathom the fact that some people aren't even doing basic bookkeeping, basic maths on something that requires constant income every day. just because she did that with us, it helped her to understand one property out of her 5 portfolio, I think it is, stopped her from getting profit.
Yeah.
Stopped her from getting, like,
and that kind of clarity.
And then realize you actually don't have to go to work because this is now an hour deep. That this is, once I get rid of this,
that bit of clarity allowed her to be able to make a sharper decision, which is getting rid of the property. You know what I mean?
And being able to absolutely use the profits. That's the whole point. I think people underestimate why people are scaling. Like, why do we have 30 plus properties? Because we essentially didn't treat it like a hobby. This has to last. This has to make us money. This has to pay our bills. This has to fund our lifestyle. This has to be the foundation so that we can create bigger businesses, do bigger things that we're more passionate about. Like, I think people are lacking that. So yes, people are able to scale in this business. And the reason they can scale is because they're able to understand the difference between treating it as a side hustle, which I know you guys have heard us say so many times, but it's clearly not sinking in. So we have to keep repeating it.
Treating it like a side hustle and treating it like a business, an actual business.
Two very different things. And I think, again, just in terms of practicality, they understand what demand looks like and they understand their pricing. And for those who haven't understood pricing, they go out and search it. I remember when you did your tutorial with the Price Labs and someone from our Skool community had kind of said that they were struggling with the pricing. And whilst that consultation was super helpful, we actually realized that yes, the pricing was slightly off, easy fix. But also your pictures weren't even up to scratch.
Yeah.
I'm talking, they had, like kitchen towels just like slapped on something in the kitchen. The blinds were falling down, like, and I had to be honest, like, your photos are crap.
It was dark and dingy, It
looks like a thingy den. It's a no, and it had such potential. You know what I mean? So I think once you understand all those things, it helps you to operate more like a business that has trusted systems behind it that will sustain the dark times, because you will have dark times in this business, you will have low seasons in this business. It will help you to understand it a lot more and to progress a lot further.
I think at the end of the day, right, I know rent to rent works. It works now more than ever. It works because when you put in the effort, you get the rewards, right? There's a reason, again, why that Cindy said before, there's a reason why people are still getting properties, scaling, making success and profits and everything like that. And there's a reason why there's also other people who are falling off, not even making the 12-month cycle. They're not even lasting. They're not even lasting that long.
Panicking, don't
right?
Sleep.
There's a reason why these things are happening. It's all down to the operations of things, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I just feel like understanding that, and if you're listening to this and you're thinking, actually, which side am I on? Just think about how much do you want it? What is your why? Because if your why is not strong enough, when things get dark, when things are up against you, that won't be enough to carry you through. You're just gonna fall off like the rest of everyone else. Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas I feel like our why, and I feel like we've even got different whys, but it comes together. It comes together to make a obviously more powerful thing. But those are what kind of drag us through the mud and the trenches. Do you see what I'm saying?
We're in the trenches right now.
Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
We'll always keep it real. We're in the trenches right now, like in the gut. And it's not even like profits and things like that. It's like our systems and things costing us money that shouldn't cost us money. Like, we are in the trenches. Like, you see us, I've got full slashes on. I've never put on full slashes. We don't have time to get nails done. We don't have time to get lashes done. I barely have time to do I didn't even get time to do my makeup today. Like, it is go. We've been waking up at 5. We're really trying to get up at 4:30.
No, we are.
One of the 4:30 club, but we actually got so much to do in the day. I've had a migraine on top of this eye. On top of any doctors out there, I've had a migraine on top of this eye. It's not removed. It's not reduced. It's just stood there. I don't even know what to do with myself.
Is it pounding or is it just like...
Right now, it's just ticking.
Yeah.
It's just ticking. Yesterday, it was knocking at the door.
Yeah.
And I almost diagnosed myself with the most fatal.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is what it costs. Like, I don't think you understand. I always said, I know that one of the videos that was kind of blown up a little bit on TikTok and on social media was talking about the stability of income.
Yeah.
But essentially, I would never change this because I love what I'm doing.
You're in control of what's going on.
I'm in control. At least I'm in control. At least I'm the reason. Imagine going to work and the reason you've had a bad day is your manager. Like that feeling for me is why I left work. How can I go to work to support others? I'm in a caring role. I want you to do better. I want other people to do better. And I leave feeling crushed because of someone else. Once I've gotten into this position where I no longer need my 9 to 5 and I've been able to kind of leave and no one is responsible for me anymore.
Yeah.
If anything happens in the day that's bad, I can't blame anyone but me. It's a great feeling. I know it sounds so weird, but it's a great feeling. So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is rent to rent isn't dead.
No.
Opportunities aren't dead, but where you're probably finding those opportunities and who you're seeking out to get those opportunities and get yourself going in the business is where you're hitting a brick wall. And I think be extra cautious about who you're listening to, what you're absorbing, even when it comes down to us. Fact check. Fact check. I could tell you right now I have 50 properties. You would not know anything. You would not know a thing because I could be using different platforms. I could be putting it under different companies. I could be having properties under different management companies. You would not know a thing. Fact check. That's the basis of it all. So be careful who you're choosing to listen to. Be careful what you're absorbing. And don't let negativity dictate your next move. Be rational, be logical. Understand what it is that you need to do within your business to get you from point A to B and be solution focused. That's what's got us there. That's what will get you there. And no more crying about the fact that you've only called 40 landlords and you're not getting the results. What work will you put in to get where you want to be? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I think we're at the end. I think we're going to end on that one.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
And plus, I need to break my fast, man. Please.
Sean's falling apart.
Listen,
okay.
honestly, like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm Christian, by the way. I just thought I'd put that out there because now, whenever I say that I'm breaking my fast, and obviously I don't eat pork, people think that I'm Muslim.
Okay.
But no, I'm Christian, so just putting that out there.
Okay.
Thought I'd,
Thank you for clarifying.
No, it's all right.
Our masterclass will be in our bio for Instagram.
And it will be in the description
of this below. So anybody who's looking to kind of get a lot more information tailored to you guys, giving you a lot more truths and blueprints on how to actually get in the space, how to stay put in the space, not just get washed away by all the waves. We're going to be hosting that for you guys in particular. Anyone who has already got service accommodations and needs that support with making sure their properties are going to profit, the Skool community will be perfect for you. So that will also be in the link, a link in the description. And we look forward to meeting and speaking to you guys. Like we say, we don't buy it. So, make the first step and choose you in all of this. Good luck, guys.